Alright, y'all, so about 3 weeks ago, I got to ranking the chapters that I read for the week from best to worst. This time around, we're gonna do from worst to best. Starting off with Down chapter 224. This chapter had some cool moments in it, but it felt repetitive. Yukishiro and Rin both having to give up their power. Toilet Gag was cool though, and this little girl is very interesting. She was able to take a direct flame attack from Jack Wisp himself. Somehow it looks like she's on even more demon time than she already was before the battle started. Amongst the chapters I read this week though, it is the weakest. Like I said, it had repetitive subject matter with both Rin and Yukishiro losing their power. Until further notice, this little girl was really just thrown in as a plot convenience for those two. And then we gotta wait 2 whole weeks for the next Down chapter. You gotta be shitting me. Moving on to the next chapter in the list, I gotta go to Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 30. This chapter had some good moments. We got to see Shikadai, Chocho, and Himawari fight together to get rid of this Osuchi threat right here. They put in so much pain to just get rid of one of them. Whole time, bro is splitting himself up into multiple versions of himself, wreaking havoc in Konoha. I guess that's his trick. Like, he could just split himself as many times as he wants to. It was also cool to see Boruto easily deal with the Konoha police department, blazing them while also getting them out the way at the same time as crazy work. I even like to play from Kashin Koji to take over the mind of the daimyo that was pressed to question Shikamaru on his connection to Boruto, putting Inojin in a tough situation, talking about we gotta kill this guy, while he was still in his head, could barely process the fact that he just did the mind transfer jutsu on bro. This was an okay chapter. Boruto 2 Blue Vortex was nothing crazy. Just don't compete with the other 3 that I'm about to get into. Now coming in at that third spot, we got Sakamoto Day chapter 245, and then we get the long-awaited, hopefully final fight between Sakamoto and X. Sakamoto is giving X the fight of his life early on, despite the fact that X is tapped into Takamura's powers. I said this last week. How is X not utilizing Takamura's abilities to his fullest extent? Bro might be a fraud for real. Love the way Sakamoto went about getting him to deal with the Takamura that's in his head. And just seeing Sakamoto back in action after being out of it for so long. Definitely looking forward to Sakamoto continuing to put belt to ass on this man X in the next chapter. But until then, on to the next one. Now in second place, I gotta give it to One Piece chapter 1171. This is a very good chapter. We finally get to the end of the Hero/Rock/Loki flashback. And then we see the aftermath of the fight between Loki and Hero. Loki tells Ja Rule and the others that he plans on going out to sea with the remaining soldiers to avenge the death of Hero. We got Shanks getting a flashback of his time in the Holy Land. Wasn't pleasant at all. And then we got Emu jacking that Elbaf is D. Like, what is he talking about? Prior to most, we've got Emu speaking in one chapter before. This is a momentous occasion, Loki. After Loki explains what really happened back in the day to Haruji and everybody present, everybody starts heading back to the Sunroom to fight off Emu, except for Luffy and Loki. Luffy stays behind to see Loki deal with the Draugr as a warm-up, and you know Loki couldn't wait to get out them chains. He puts a belt to ass on this creature. Looking forward to seeing the damage he could do in the Sunroom. And then finally, like, come on. This shouldn't be a surprise to nobody. JJK Madolo chapter 19 is my top chapter of this week. Fight between Deborah and Maharaga heating up literally, and Deborah tapping into another level of himself, trapping at the speed of light. Despite the awakening though, it's still not enough to take out Maharaga. It only inspires him to want to fight more and become a greater warrior. Looking forward to see how that fight plays out. But we gotta talk about my man Yuji Itadori. My brother has entered the chat and he is taking no prisoner. Those are just my picks for this week. Looking forward to the chapters to come.